please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence for the men and women of our armed services. Thank you. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey have been satisfied by the inclusion of the date, time, and place of this meeting in the notice of regular meetings adopted by this board on January 5th, 2026. Such schedule and notice of meetings is posted at the Municipal Building, the Mount Olive Library, the Board of Education offices, and the 6 schools, was submitted to the Daily Record for publication on January 6th, 2026, and was filed with the Clerk of Mount Olive Township on January 6th, 2026. I direct that this announcement be entered into the minutes of this meeting. Roll call, Ms. Shoney.
Mrs. Aquino?
Here.
Mrs. Brett?
Here.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Here.
Mrs. Melendez?
Here.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Here.
Mr. Orzillo?
Here.
Mr. Petrie?
Here.
Mrs. Figuera? Dr. Giordano?
Here. Bear with me today. We're not working off board docs. You have to go old school. Approval of minutes, Ms. Aquino?
I'd like to make a motion to approve action item 2.1 and 2.2.
Second.
Questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, roll call.
Mrs. Aquino?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Ms. Brett?
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. Melendez?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Orzillo?
Yes.
Dr. Giordano?
Yes. Petitions, communications to the board? Superintendent?
None.
Thank you. Reports and discussions. Dr. Banjo, we will turn it over to your superintendent's report.
At this time, I would like to have the student report go first. You can sit right there.
Is it on?
Okay,
Oh,
Dr.
it's on.
Giordano, I just wanted, look, it's fine?
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so for past events, we had the SAT on March 25th. We also had the Mount Olive Robotics District event on March 27th through the 29th. Moore ended up in second place as Alliance captains of Alliance 2, so we're really happy. And we also competed at the district championships at Lehigh University. We made it to quarterfinals, and we were Alliance captains of Alliance 7. We did qualify for Worlds, and we are leaving tomorrow morning until May 3rd. So we're really excited for that, looking forward to it. We also had a Spring Spirit Week on April 13th through April 17th, and we had more participation this time, and it was a great way to welcome spring. We also had a Community Awareness Night on April 7th, where the seniors presented different health projects to raise awareness in the community. The Social Studies Department also provided voter registration information, and they set up booths during lunch as well, which is a really good thing. And the International Club Extravaganza was on April 17th. We had a lot of different performances by students, and it included international performances and different cultures, and it was really nice to see all that representation and our students performing. It was beautiful. We also had the spring performance of Freaky Friday on April 10th and 11th with the 2 shows on Saturday. It was an amazing performance, and it was really great to see how the kids were able to jump back after the setbacks they had previously. They also won 8 Boxy Award nominations for past shows. So for Grease, Brandon Harvey won Best Student Lighting Designer, Riley Thomas, Outstanding Stage Manager, Lincoln Vera, Best Lead Actor, Tyler Randazzo, Best Supporting Actor, and Riley Kahili won Best Featured Ensemble Member. And for Mean Girls, Riley Thomas won Outstanding Stage Manager, Dylan Kovach won Best Lead Actor, and Zoe Vaidio won Best Lead Actress, so we're really proud of them. At the Bucks County Drama Competition, they also won a number of awards for Freaky Friday. They won Outstanding Ensemble, Singer Face-Off Award for Outstanding Vocals went to Emmy Bosch and Marin Masagia, and Best Dramatic Duo was Caden Blakey and Prince Gutiga. I went to watch the show, and it was really amazing to watch. So coming up, we have the NJSLA Science 11 starting tomorrow, and ELA 9 NJSLA as well. The math will be on May 19th with Algebra 1 and Geometry for the freshmen and sophomores. We also have the freshman class officers coming to the middle school on the 28th to speak on a panel and answer any questions that the 8th graders may have about going to high school, a transition, anything like that. Actually, something new we're starting this year, so we're really excited to see how that's going to go. We are also having a career fair on the 29th at 9 a.m. in the Dome, and we encourage all our students to take advantage of the amazing resources that are going to be at this fair. AP exams start on May 4th, and they're going to last approximately 2 weeks, with exams in the morning and in the afternoon, so we're wishing our students the best of luck. We have an open house on the 29th at 6:15 p.m. Includes a tour of the high school, and all elementary and middle school families are welcome and encouraged to come. We also have a ton of inductions happening soon. So we have the National Art Honor Society induction on the 30th, the National Honor Society on May 4th, the Thespian Honor Society induction on May 5th. So really excited for them. Congratulations to all the students that got accepted. Foods Club is also doing a Cinco de Mayo celebration on May 5th at 5 p.m. and we're excited to see what they're going to cook up for us. And the Air Force Junior ROTC Military Ball is on May 9th as well. We also have the Spring Arts Festival on the 20th, and prom is on the 29th. And we hope all our seniors have an amazing and safe time. And that is all for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Questions or
Thank you.
comments from the board? Board members have any comments, questions? See none? Thank you.
Good
You'll have
luck
to
in
stay.
Houston.
Oh. Dr. Bangio?
At this time, we'd like to invite Mr. Kevin Stansbury up, who's going to be introducing our phenomenal ROTC program.
Okay.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and Board of Education members. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce two individuals that have been the right people for the right programs for the right purposes. And I couldn't accentuate that more with the work that they've done since standing up the program in 2016, 2017. Very fortunate to be selected by the Air Force to host Mount Olive's Air Force Junior ROTC program. So without further ado, to give you an update on their year in review, Chief Master Sergeant Robert Bedell. How about a huge round of applause? He hails from Bangor, Pennsylvania, just saying. Okay, Bangor, Pennsylvania, just write that down. And also joining him is Master Sergeant Nathan Krutoff. Senior Master Sergeant Nate Krutoff. Come on up.
Well, it is always an honor to come before you guys, and obviously last time we were here was our State of the Unit back in November. So thank you again, and really I want to start there because with that State of the Unit, it really set the stage for this year. So if I could have Cadet Colonel Ona and Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Bowen come on forward here. So these two, along with Cadet Captain Sierra Ferreira, they're our top three. They're the ones back in August before school even started. They're the ones that set those goals that you saw before you back in November of what they were going to achieve this year. And so everything starts with them. They're the ones we're going to highlight a lot of the teams and the individuals, but really this year's success starts with these top three, including Ferreira, to make this all happen. So I just really need to have them as they're our seniors, graduating and moving on, and of course we'll do a change of command on at our military ball, so Ona will have to relinquish his command onto our new commander next year. But I just want to acknowledge you guys. Thank you so much for your leadership and everything we see from here on out you guys put into play. So thank you guys. Do I have one slide ahead of this, I believe? Nope, ahead. Right there. Awesome. Could I have Ethan Scarsey come on up here, buddy? So Cadet First Lieutenant Ethan Scarsey, a junior as well, he is our Raider team commander. And so he lives and breathes Raider since he was a freshman. Matter of fact, even before you were a freshman, wasn't it? Yeah, you came out, saw some of the stuff we were doing at our Marauder Challenge even before he was in high school. But he's the one who puts the teams together. He's the one who puts together workouts twice a week for the Raider team. But he also does the teams. What you see on the slide there was our latest competition at Highland High School. Now, I will say a little bit daunting in the fact that we show up and there are 4 Marine teams, Marine Junior ROTC. Now, they didn't seem to be daunted at all. I was a little bit nervous. So among all them and the other Air Force teams there, for us to walk away with 3 second places, and by the way, that third place, we were a second away from second place as well. So just a phenomenal deal. But what I am always encouraged by Ethan is not only his team mentality that he does with his folks from freshman all the way to senior, but also he's the one who puts the teams together. And we've had a lot of last minute shifts when all of a sudden, and when we look at the drill team accolades, he puts together an athletic challenge team to compete at those drill competitions as well. So it's not just Raider. I was hoping to be here to give you more accolades from this past Saturday, but unfortunately the competition out in Reading, Pennsylvania was canceled due to weather. So, but we do have another shot, Northern Burlington, 23 May, and we'll be collecting more hardware there. So ladies and gentlemen, Ethan Scarsey. All right, Miss Julia Markle, come on up. So Julia, she took on, can I go next slide? Thanks. We had a phenomenal season last year. So you know how hard it is to follow up such a successful season. And First Lieutenant Julia Markle was up to the task. Dedicated teammate, she was the one who puts the teams together. They get together, you need to understand, drill practice is at 6 in the morning. They have to be driven there. It's the only time we have gym room space. So they're dedicated. They come 3 times a week, and then about 2 weeks out from competition, they do it every day, 6 in the morning. But she's also teaching the new cadet drill. These are first-year cadets. She does that during tag. Then after school, we have color guard competition practice. We have exhibition drill practice, all those things. So the level of dedication, among everything else that they do, for them to do for junior ROTC. Well, I want to highlight over on the West Orange High School drill comp. Now, that is a successful drill meet, just so everyone knows. But not to this drill team. They went and left with a first place, second, or third, best armed commander for Cadet Ona, all these things, but they were just like, oh, it does not compare. So we went to Old Bridge, and as you can see, they just dedicated themselves even more, and we cleaned house. Every single cadet contributed to a trophy, which allows them to get a special teams ribbon. So the fact that everyone there, and the first new cadet, as I said, the one who teaches new cadet, our very first trophy in new cadet was under Julia Markle. So very, very proud of this team. A great year, following up a great year last year, even better this year. So ladies and gentlemen, Julia Markle. So these are our teams, but let me cover some of our individuals. So if we can go next slide. Mia Capone, could you please come forward? So I don't know if you know, at Air Force Junior ROTC started about 5 years ago a flight academy. It's scholarships. And we were fortunate enough 2 years ago, Matthias Klinkay, he was our very first flight academy scholarship. He went, got his private pilot's license. He's now in college up in South Dakota to become a commercial pilot. So it all worked out great. Well, Mia Capone, she comes with the same, very similar dream to fly. But this year's different. And so not only is it awesome that she got one of the scholarships, but I need to explain, normal years, there's about 200 scholarships to give out. This year, due to government shutdown and budgeting issues, they had 90 scholarships to give out. That's across all Air Force Junior ROTC, including some of those go to senior ROTC, so college kids that are in ROTC. So we have a very small pool to draw from, and she made the primary list. Now, to brag a little bit, Jace Ona is on the alternate list. So for a school to get 2, you know, I just had to stay quiet within my region, right? We were a little bit there. But Mia Capone, she's going to head off Tulsa, Oklahoma, attend Spartan College. There you go, Oklahoma. And this is an 8-week-long very rigorous training, 6 days a week, in order for them within 8 weeks to leave with a private pilot's license. So from 15 June to 8 August, you'll be enjoying Oklahoma, hopefully no tornadoes, and the weather will support her first flight, solo flight, all those great things. And then next year, she will be, when we wear utilities, she gets to wear a flight suit. So pretty cool, pretty cool. And she'll get her wings and all that cool stuff. So very unique for us, very happy to have her, and looking forward to graduation on 8 August. All right, Mia Capone. Not sure how versed you are, next slide please, with Girls State and Boys State. It's through American Legion. It goes through the whole political chain, and they fill different government agencies and stuff. A few years back, you might know Gabby Druck. She's currently at West Point. She brought to my awareness Girls State. I always knew Boys State, but never Girls State. So she got us started. We've been sending nominees every year. So you see 2 photos, and that's rare. So understand there's only 200 billets that go to New Jersey, to Jersey Girls State. Every chapter has 1 billet to give throughout Jersey, okay? So we sent, so come on up, Capucine and Katie. So these 2 amazing ladies, they pretty much had to go interview in competition with each other. So the fact that there was 1 billet for them to get. Well, the interviewer gives me a call afterwards and says, your girls were phenomenal. They were so good. And she goes, but I only have 1 to give, but I have good news. I've reached out and got another billet. So 2 of them are filling 2 of the 200 slots. So absolutely unique opportunity. Again, like I said, they had to interview for these positions. They weren't the only 2. There was many other girls that got interviewed as well. So very, very proud that not only did we steal the primary, but they even went out and found another one, because that's how amazing these 2 young ladies are. So give them a round of applause. So again, amazing year, and again, you're just seeing junior after junior after junior. I don't know what I'm going to do after they graduate next year, because this is a phenomenal year. But yes, we're doing Boys State. This is common. Normally we have 2 billets, and again, you see a 3rd. So Mikey, Alex, Yao, please come on up. So they're going to be going to Rider University to attend Boys State here at the end of June. Matter of fact, right after graduation, or right after the end of the school, they'll be going that weekend. Same as Girls State. They had, by the way, they go to, it's like Georgia, what the heck is that place called? It's in Lakewood, New Jersey, which, by the way, is the hometown of yours truly. That's where I was born. So raised in Toms River, but I was born in Lakewood. But it's like Georgian University or something that they'll be attending. Thank you very much. That's the one. So with going to Rider, now this is large. Boys State is heavily funded. Post 91 out of Wharton, New Jersey, we have an ongoing community service relationship with them. And Brigadier General retired Dolfer is the adjutant there, and I give him leads. Well, I have amazing cadets, so I'm like, hey, is there any chance? He goes, well, let me see if I can get a 3rd. Because what you see in front of you are 2 Mount Olive, but as you know, we have Roxbury with us, and Mikey Surreal has been a phenomenal cadet. Since freshman on, he's been with us since we stood up the crosstown, and so awesome that he'll be pushing forward. Also seeking USAFA Air Force Academy, by the way, after next year, so we're looking forward to seeing that happen. But all 3, so General Dolfer said, yes, we'll be able to fund them going. He sponsored all 3 from his post, and they'll be off for a week long just in gross training, the same as Girls State, in the political path and chain. So we look forward to getting a huge benefit from these 3 amazing cadets. So ladies and gentlemen, give them a round of applause. Now, my final award here, if I can have my CLC cadre come on up, please. Thank you, thank you. So you have here Kyle Ensinger, Julia Markle again, Mohi Panchal, and Sarah Magidson. So, yes, give them a round. So there is also another one, Mason Kilka. He was unable to be here tonight. But 5 of them, what makes it unique for them, and if you look up on the photos, this is them 2 years ago when they were basics at Cadet Leadership Course. So to be selected for CLC, you have to be pretty sharp. There's a fitness requirement. You have to be a leader, show potential in leadership. So back when they were at the end of their freshman year, they went off and did CLC. For you to be invited back to be cadre and actually run the camp is a whole nother ballgame. And so I am very honored that we have 5 of our cadets that will be returning back. We don't know their specific billets. We'll be doing that on May 19th of their positions that they will be holding there. But pretty honored to have 5 of our cadets returning and really running CLC. This is the premier leadership. It's kind of, if you think of like a leadership lab, everything we have taught throughout the year and throughout the years with them, they put to practice here this week long down at Joint Base McGuire Dix Lakehurst down South Jersey. And so it is a hot week, a very rigorous week. It is very basic training-esque. So there is a lot of yelling, there's a lot of pressure, and every minute of the day is taken up with something. So when they go to sleep, their eyes close, and then it's reveille, wake up, and they're back at it again. So very excited for them, excited for what they're going to do for the upcoming cadets behind them. By the way, this program has about 17 different schools. Junior ROTC programs go there. About 260 plus cadets will show there, and they'll be in charge. So not too bad at all. So ladies and gentlemen, my CLC cadre. And then just quickly, we just did our award ceremony for the year. Thank you for a few of you that were able to make it out there. That is huge. And again, I'm so proud to watch them run that program and just sit there as like a proud pop of just watching your kids, and in this case, my cadets, just shine, just as these guys have. And we have our military ball coming on the 9th of May. Thank you for those that are coming. And another great event run by the cadets, and we just get to just mentor them through it all. So great program. Thank you again for your ongoing support and what you do for us day in and day out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chief. Dr. Bangia? On with the budget presentation?
Sure. Would you like the families to be able to stand
Yeah,
up?
Chief, if the cadets, you guys have to go, you don't have to stay for the budget presentation if you don't want to. And the way, just let the public know, we're going to have the budget presentation, and then I'm going to open it up to the board member questions, and then I'll open it up to public comments or questions just on the presentation of the budget. So we'll get that.
Congratulations to all of you.
Yeah, congratulations, guys and ladies, cadets, sorry. Dr. Banjo, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. We're excited to be sharing our final budget presentation for the upcoming school year 26-27. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Schoening, our business administrator.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our budget hearing for the school year 26-27. Thanks. This is a brief outline of what we're going to cover this evening. I wonder. So this is the calendar of events that we dealt with during budget development. March 23rd, we presented our preliminary budget. We had to submit our budget to the county on March 27th. The county approved our budget on April 20th. We posted it to our website, our advertised budget, on April 22nd. And this evening, we're having our public hearing and final adoption. This is a brief overview of our state aid for this school year. We received a $275,000 decrease, which we were actually pretty happy about because we were told it could be between 1% and 3%, and 3% to us was a little bit over $1 million, and that would be quite a feat for us to deal with. You could see the bar graph. Oh, are you driving? I thought, okay. No, you can drive. The bar graph of where our state aid is comprised of, with the various equalization aid, special ed aid, transportation aid, and security aid. Equalization aid makes up the largest part of our aid, which represents the wealth of the community. Key insights to the right, we just broke down the aids even more. Extraordinary aid, we're budgeting this year of about $1 million. It is not included in the above $39 million because that is an aid that the district has to apply for the aid. We have to submit applications for our students, and then based on the amount of money that the state has available, we receive our aid. Unfortunately, we do not get 100% of the expenditures we report. Over the past 5 years, the district has lost about $5 million in extraordinary aid. It started off 5 years ago funding 90%, then it went down to 80%, 70%, and so on. So right now, we're at 50%. I'm hoping that we stay this year at 50%. 60% would be a lot better, but we have to see where we go. This is a nice summary of the district's state aid and tax levy history. You'll see I went back to 2013-14 school year, basically because when you go to our website, we have budgets available going back to that year. So should anybody want to spend some time and look at our budgets, they'll be able to see these numbers. So you could see over the past several years, the board was within their 2% statutory allowance and the corresponding state aid. And all the way to the right, you will see the increases, sometimes zero increase, sometimes a moderate increase. And then as you work through the school years, you can see that the district was starting to receive more money because I'm sure you've heard the state and their funding formula, which doesn't really seem to work out too well because you can see all the fluctuations in our aid. One year we're getting $5 million, then $7 million, then $5, and then we drop to negative 340. So it's kind of very difficult to build a budget with the numbers not stable at all. We put a slide together of comparable districts in Morris County for your purview. You will see Morris School District, Mount Olive, Parsippany, Randolph, and Roxbury, along with their corresponding enrollments, their total budget, their tax levy increases. You can see we're all in the same situation. Everybody's expecting higher increases in their state health benefits. You have Parsippany with a 31.4% increase. We're one of the lowest, with the exception of Morris School District, at 20%. And you can see across the board that districts in general, benefits represent close to 40% of our operating budget. Doesn't leave that much room for anything else. And you'll see they're all taking their health care waiver to expand because that's how they're getting to that tax levy.
So at this point, before we get into the other numbers, we wanted to provide an overview as far as what we're planning for next year. Obviously, at the heart of what we do as a school district is our students. And certainly, we take our decisions financially very seriously because certainly we recognize that we are coming from the taxpayers. So we're very mindful as far as what we want to focus upon, which is what's going on, not only literally in the classroom, but what's going on with our students. One of the things that we wanted to expand upon for next year is our expansion in number of teams here in the middle school. The teams are in which how students are operating as far as their classes. They have the same English teacher, math teacher, science, social studies, and that allows them to have a home within a home. We introduced a fourth team in the 6th grade level, and the impact has been tremendous. Student achievement has gone up, disciplinary referrals have gone down, student attendance has improved, and certainly we wanted to carry that on into 7th grade with those students as well. However, based upon strategic decisions made as far as I want to say positions absorbed from different locations, instead of having to hire 6 new positions for this new team, we're only going to need to hire 1. And we're able to relocate staff from the rest of the district in order to ensure that we have the same impact that we had in 6th grade to happen in 7th grade as well. So we're excited about that. Another area that we are expanding is our multilingual programming. About 5 years ago, we had around 120 or so students who were considered ML. Right now, we're over about 230 kids. So obviously, with an increased number of students, we certainly need to enhance our programming. And so certainly, we're looking to add 1 multilingual teacher at the high school. Another area, as far as students' needs are concerned, is gifted and talented program. Currently, we have 1 G&T teacher that services our entire elementary schools. We have 4 schools across the district. We're looking to add 1 more, so this way each teacher can cover 2 buildings. Also, we are excited to show that case that we are actually expanding our ASD programming. For those who are unfamiliar, ASD is our students on the spectrum. And right now we have programs both at CMS and Sandshore. Because the needs of those programs and the number of students who need to be serviced have expanded, we need to add a new section at Sandshore, as well as we're introducing ASD at the middle school, which is an exciting expansion. For those in the audience, understand that if, as a district, if we choose not to offer these services within the district, then we would have to go outside of the district, and that requires out-of-district placement and tuition, which is a much more higher cost as opposed to starting a program in district. Another area that we're expanding upon is partnering with Insight Health Services. Currently, we are partnering with Thrive, which are mental health services. Insight is actually a little more advanced from a technology standpoint, so now we're going to able to expand opportunities for families to get the help they need on the online basis. So once again, but at the same time, not adding any money to the budget. So we're, as you can see from this particular page, that we're expanding a lot of programming, but being mindful as far as the financial components are required. In relation to that, we're continuing our expansion on our ELA curriculum resources. This has been a huge initiative for the past couple of years. One of the big things that we want as a district is to really have a K-5 program across the district, and that's something we started about 2 years ago, and we're expanding upon that. Phonics instruction is also something that we're trying to expand upon on hands-on learning materials. We're also continuing our math curriculum renewal, as well as our alignment to the standards. From instructional programming, we're continuing our partnership with Conquer Math to ensure that students not view themselves only that they can do math, but they're math people, so they can be lifelong learners along with that. As we talked about multilingual learners, we're going to be expanding our resources for that, as well as providing PD targeted for our staff, and then continuing instructional excellence. Area of focus is also continued growth on our 4-year technology plan, including the expansion of our devices, or replacement of end-of-year devices. Dr. Kreider and her team have really worked on ensuring that we have a life cycle replacement. Ms. Shoney has been instrumental in ensuring that we built that into the budget. That's a manageable replacement schedule, as opposed to being, I want to say, walloped every couple of years. So we've really been keen on ensuring that it's done on a timely and a regular basis. Also, as you know, software systems updating and also cybersecurity has been a focus of the district. From a transportation facility standpoint, we are dedicated to keeping our in-house operations as far as hiring an additional transportation mechanic. So this way, all our buses are able to be fixed as much as possible in district, as well as also facilities management of making sure that our operations are dealt with, and expanding with our part-time dome operator as well.
So this is an overview of the revenues by fund source. We have our operating budget, special revenue, and debt service. You will see that on the right side, a local tax levy, our taxpayers contribute. They're the primary funding source, and then state aid is second with about $39 million. This is just another example of our tax levy, our state revenues, and again, this is our state aid plus the $1 million from our extraordinary aid that we're budgeting, representing about 30%. In addition, our other revenue sources of about $6 million, that is our budgeted fund balance. Budgeted fund balance represents the money that the district is saving during the current school year, that we're reserving out of this year's budget to use to fund next year. The district has been diligent over the past 13, 14 years in spending wisely so that there's money saved for subsequent years. Because keep in mind, we're building a budget now for next year. We don't really know what we have a good idea of what our expenditure is going to be, but we don't know, obviously for certain, we don't know what's going to come to us that we haven't planned, so we try to be as reasonable and conservative as possible. So in addition to the budgeted fund balance, we also have our capital reserve withdrawal of about $3.5 million, which directly supports the capital projects that we have planned in this budget, as well as $500,000 from our maintenance reserve account, which will support all of our required maintenance expenditures in the budget. On the right side, our local sources, we have about $870,000, which is tuition from other school districts sending to us for our special education programs. We also have a preschool program that is parent-paid, rents and royalties of our renting out our facilities, and we have unrestricted miscellaneous revenue of $640,000, which represents bank account interest, miscellaneous revenue, and $30,000 for parking permit fees, a brief amount of capital reserve interest for $7,500, and Medicaid, which is federal aid of $77,000 that is given to us from the government. This is another detail of all the revenues that I just discussed, so I'm not going to talk about it again. Our appropriations. So appropriations, what I try to do on our district website is the advertised budget. So when we do this presentation, I like to discuss the advertised budget so that when you're looking at it, you have an understanding of what we're actually spending the money on. We have instructional programs and support services, and on the next slide, it'll be detailed as to what makes up these items. Capital outlay and transfer to charter schools. This represents students who choose to attend a charter school. This presentation will be on our website by tomorrow. I know the numbers are very small, so you won't have to take so many notes. You'll be able to have this for tomorrow. This breaks this down for you, what the instructional programs are. Regular instruction, special ed instruction, basic skills, bilingual. I need my glasses. Bilingual, school-sponsored, which are your co-curricular and your athletics, for and after-school programs, summer school, and alternative programs. Our support services are, I cannot see that all, our out-of-district placement, tuition, attendance, our nursing services, speech and related services. Related services are OT, PT. We have other support services such as guidance, extraordinary services, one-to-one services, students who need a one-to-one aid or specialized instruction, guidance, child study team, our supervisors, which is known as improvement of instruction, our library, and staff, staff development. On the right side, administration, which is the general administration, which is the superintendent's office, support services, school administration. These are all the main offices at the school buildings, central services, which is the business office, and administrative technology, which is our technology department. We also have operations and benefits, which is our facility department, student transportation, and then personal service and employee benefits. And it's here I'll note that $31 million line represents 23% of the entire budget. So you just can't escape your fixed costs with salary and benefits. And on the bottom, capital outlay, the $3.6 million represents about $3.5 million for our capital outlay projects. We have about $125,000 that every district in New Jersey is assessed to pay back debt service aid, and the nominal $7,500 for capital reserve interest and the transfer to charter schools. And that all totals about $136.5 million. These are a list of the capital projects that we have planned in this budget and we are already starting to work on, especially with the rooftop units to provide fresh, cold air, hot air. Some of them, especially at the high school level, have been long overdue for quite some time. We're planning on replacing the roof at Mountain View. We've replaced sections.
Partial roof at Mountain View right now, right?
Partial roof, yes, excuse me, partial roof. The auxiliary gym floor replacement at the middle school. We need to replace the elevator at the high school. We're replacing a gym door replacement, the lockers, flooring at Mountain View, and another rooftop unit at CMS. Our debt service aid, this is the bonds that were issued years ago. This is principal and interest, a moderate 1.38% of our budget. Special revenue are our local, state, and federal funding. The majority of it is federal funding of $870,000 that we anticipate for IDEA, Title I, Title II, III, and IV, about $1.1 million. We are instructed to budget at 75%, and we're hoping that we get more than 75% because every little bit helps, and we use all these monies rigorously. They're all planned out. Tax levy calculation. Our tax levy, to strike it, you take the current year tax levy, $81.3 million. You inflate that by the 2% allowance, which is 82.9, and adding to it is a health care adjustment of $3.6 million. That health care adjustment is the result of a software calculation, the budget software, when we put in what we anticipate for our health care expenditures, and in this case, we're anticipating a 20% increase. It automatically generates this adjustment for us that we're allowed to expand the tax levy. So by expanding the tax levy, it generates a 6.48% increase. And you'll see on the right, we put for you the tax levy trends over the past few years. I was going to ask you to change it, and I'm holding it. You can see on the left, the valuations have gone up slightly from last year. The tax rate increased slightly. For the average home in Mount Olive is $325,000. The average assessment would be about $364 annually, or $30 a month. And that's it. Any questions?
I have question, maybe.
Just wait for everyone to get back. Your seats. Ms. Brett, go ahead. Was that Ms. Melendez? I'm sorry, Ms. Melendez, go ahead.
Yes, going back to page 7, the inception of the ASD program at the Mount Olive Middle School. So those positions are all for that program, for the inception of the program, right?
So those listed right there is actually for Sand Shore. At the middle school, we're having internal staff expand into that program, so we don't have to hire anyone at the middle school.
Okay, so those positions are for Sand Shore?
All Sand Shore, correct.
Oh, okay.
I should have clarified. I'll make sure before we post that, I clarify that.
Okay, and then the other question was, page 16, in capital and other, what is transferred to charter schools?
We have 4 students that attend charter schools. They're Mount Olive residents, but they choose to attend a charter school. There's Unity Charter is one. Ridge and Valley is another charter school. I believe we have 2 students who attend there. And there's one more, I can't remember the name, but that's how they phrase it, transfer
Are
to
for
charter school.
services that we are not able to provide them, or is for personal choice?
Their personal choice. Charter schools are not special ed schools.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the board?
There was no
Ms. Brett, go ahead.
There were no improvements for Sand Shore? I didn't see anything listed.
As far as facility-wise,
Yes.
that's just for capital. We're doing internal projects at all our buildings. Those are coming out of our capital funds.
Say that again, just because,
Yeah,
just
wanna-
to be clear, those are just for the capital reserve. There are a lot of projects across every building that we're going to be doing, but those are the only ones being funded through capital projects.
For example, one of the big things we're doing at Sand Shore is converting a classroom, and removing the art room. So we had to do some internal construction taking place. We're making some renovations in order to accommodate that move.
Also, we just completed this year a direct install project at Sand Shore, replacing HVAC units.
Anyone else from the board? No? All right, super. I will now open the floor up to public comments just on the budget presentation. Again, just ask your question or make your comment to the chair, to the board president. We'll write all the answers down, your questions down, your comments. Let other people ask, and I'll close it, and then we'll answer your questions. And then, obviously, it's on the agenda for approval, so you'll have a chance when we get to action items as well to ask again. But right now, stand up, state your name and address for the record, and ask away.
Wouldn't be a meeting if I didn't stand up. Martin Wellsmuller, 25 Woodcrest Avenue, Bud Lake, New Jersey. Now, I did ask my wife if she wanted to come here today versus me, and she says it wouldn't be the same. So, obviously, I've been looking at the budgets, not just for our town, but for surrounding towns, okay? Over the past several years with the budgets, we got the windfall schedule of $7 million, we got a $5 million, and we got a $5 million now. And it's great that we got that money then, but if you notice the trend that's happening, it's not increases, it's decreases. The Democrats in Trenton have been failing our school districts in the red areas of the state of New Jersey by not funding us properly. Now, luckily, Mount Olive has not gotten whacked yet, but it's coming. And so my questions are the following. How many total employees are we adding? Number one. What is that cost of the total employees being added, including benefits? Okay, and what happens next year when we have a large cut to our budget? Are we going to start laying people off like Sussex County, Parsippany, Roxbury laying off 23 people? Because it's going to happen. You're going to have a choice down the road. Are you laying off staff or are you cutting programs for the kids? So in some of the regards, I'm looking at it this way. If we keep on adding all the staff, the next cost that's going to happen is not going to be staff, because we never want to fire someone from a job half the time. It's what less services we're going to be providing to our children. So obviously, I'm not happy with a 6.5% increase in my taxes. For me, between the whole town, I'm going up well over $1,000. You know, you guys only look at the one piece of the pie, but that's several $100s for me. Thank God we're not Randolph trying to add a $10 million business, IT building, and all that other stuff going on out there. But like I said, eventually it has to come through. So we have to figure out ways to cut spending, okay, through attrition or planning for the future. Now, Board of Ed's historically always planned for spending more. We have to get to the mindset eventually of spending less. I know we have aging infrastructure. You know, there was a report put out there that Randolph was putting away $15 million in their capital spending fund. I looked at our records. We were at $7 to $8, $9 million. But that $7, $8, $9 million is still the taxpayers' money. Okay? And that's what people need to understand. That this is taxpayers' money. Randolph is its own beast, and I'll be at their meeting this week too. You're going to love me, asking their attorney to resign. But we have to figure out, what are we going to do next year if our budget gets cut $3 million? 4 million, 5 million. Because the rate you're looking at now, you're not planning for it. You're praying, you're crossing your fingers and praying it doesn't happen. But the trend is not our friend. Look at Jefferson. They have no extracurricular programs anymore. They don't have sports. They don't even have music. They don't have anything. They're selling their schools. That's what I fear is Mount Olive's future. So, you know, I know, Ms. Nicole, you've done an amazing job looking at all this, but we always look to add more versus protection of the future. As a financial planner, I plan 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years out for my clients, thinking about revenues, costs, taxes, will Social Security be here, not be here? In this case, instead of thinking about Social Security, I'm thinking state funding, all right? Because one day, it's gonna be cut worse. You know, I don't know if you guys watch all the news out there where Newark contributes, their taxpayers in Newark contribute $44 million in taxes to the state from the residents that live in Newark, but they get $1.3 billion in revenue from the rest of the state. They spend more per child, correct, failing child, all right, and they have phenomenal board events, Hawaii, you know, so I'm glad we don't do that. But we have to figure out what are we gonna do to protect us. And I know I'm a critic, and I don't mean to hurt you guys, but there's gonna be a time when the buck's gonna have to stop somewhere. And next year, are you gonna tell me if we have to do cuts? Are you gonna cut staff? Or are you gonna cut programs for the students? Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Nencho Kolev, 5 Jeffrey Court in Flanders. Two questions. First is, why is the cost, one of the slides showed costs per student. Why is the cost per student in Mount Olive, I believe it was higher than the other 3 surrounding districts that were shown on the slide? That's the first question, why ours is higher than the surrounding school districts. And next question is, nice presentation on the budget plan, very easy to understand. And I'm new to this, so I don't know if it, was that made available to the public prior to, went along the process, was that made available to the public? It was obviously impossible to evaluate that here, or look at it here. So if it was available, I missed it. In the future, I'll be better at that. So I just want to know if it was available to the public.
Closing the public comment on, okay, yeah, there you go.
Hi, everyone. Trista K., 28 Jocinda Road, Flanders. And I first want to thank you for putting this together. It is a very good presentation, and I had expressed to Dr. Banji at a different time that this does not seem easy, straightforward at all. So thank you for that colossal effort. As kind of a layperson just looking at this, I have a few questions. And one, I guess I just want to reiterate a little bit of that unease that Mr. Welsmiller was putting forward. Just knowing that state aid is not getting fixed this year, the healthcare crisis is not going to get fixed this year. It feels like we're still going about business as usual when we and almost every other district that you highlighted are using these extraordinary measures to meet our obligations for our current staff. And I just want to reiterate the need for prudence in making these plans as we look forward. And then again, not knowing much, I see that the healthcare adjustment is around 3.6 million, and at the same time that we're doing improvements for almost the exact same amount of 3.6 million. What is the availability of funds to use? Is there any availability to use some of those funds, maybe not all of them from reserves, to meet the healthcare adjustment instead of raising the tax levy? That's something as I said, I'm just a layperson looking at this. I don't know any of that. But I know if I had $3 million in the bank, but said I need to go on vacation and I'm going to take out another loan, to me that wouldn't make sense. And the other thing I don't know about is about the support services, which seems to take up a large amount of the budget. Are those all things mandated by the state, or are those Mount Olive internal decisions? And how does that impact the students directly? The other thing I have is not really a question, but more of a comment, that as a parent, and then even maybe more for the greater Mount Olive resident who doesn't have a student in the school district, we cannot see the condition of the schools that much. Even as a parent, we're very limited to maybe the teacher conferences, the art show, Read Across America, and maybe if we volunteer on a special day. We can't see all the things that are needed to be done. And so I would just like to encourage the district and the board to use social media as a tool for good. It seems to me it wouldn't be that hard to film the auxiliary gym and show the condition of the floors, which I only saw when my daughter did basketball there this year. So maybe because you are on the board and you're in the district, you're seeing the needs more, but maybe just using, again, social media as a tool to show the residents of this town the conditions of things. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Precious Pill.
Hello.
I have a few concerns about what was said today. So, my address is 37 Whippoorwill Road, Bud Lake.
If you could speak up, please, that would be great.
Okay. Can you hear me a little better?
That's better.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so, the first thing is that it was said in the report today that the mom students is going to be having the same teachers for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Is that accurate? Did I hear that correctly?
We'll respond after you get everything out.
Okay. Okay, so if that is accurate, because you did that last time too, and then you kind of like took it a different way and you didn't really address what I said before. And so if that is accurate, that the same teachers that our children have for the 6th grade, they're going to also have for the 7th and 8th grade. That is a bit concerning because he has a few teachers who don't really engage the students as well as it seems as though they don't really engage the students as well as they could, being more hands-on as opposed to too instructional. And I've done a lot of research on this in regards to why that is the wrong way to teach children and expect them to be more engaged and to do well in school. And I also posed these suggestions.
Can I just ask you one real quick?
Yes.
I hear what you're saying. This is more for the second open session where you have concerns about not concerns or questions about what the ongoings of the district have overall. This is just about the budget presentation.
Okay, so you're saying the portion in regards to the 6th graders having the same teachers for 7th and 8th grade.
That would be part of the second open session, when it was just general questions about what's going on in the district.
I missed that.
Yeah, it's at the very end. We do that normally we have two public sections, one on the action items and then one about anything else going on in the district. That would be, I believe that's what you're looking for. That's the point of the meeting you want to ask those questions or make your comments then.
Okay.
All right. So to answer your question, that is not what's happening. So students that have teachers in the 6th grade are not going to have them in the 7th grade.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if that settles if that helps you.
That does.
Okay.
Okay.
I can speak to after the close.
Right.
Like, we close it out, but quick answer to your question, that's not what the intention of the comment. I'll explain.
Once we close out, we'll have
it.
Dr. Banjo explain a little more detail for you.
Okay, that
Okay.
does, because
Right,
that
no, I
would.
get it. This is a valid point for sure.
Yes. Okay, so it
So-
saved his teachers for other meetings about
All right.
this.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Tim Capone, Highfield Road, Flanders. So just want to clarify a couple of things. So you're saying we're getting, for extraordinary aid, about $1 million. That is not in the budget, which means you have a surplus coming into the district of $1 million that you have not allocated. Let's be clear on that, okay? And the other thing is that when you were talking about this, you were saying it used to be 90% and it keeps dropping. But what was it before it was 90%? 90%. Before it was 90%, it was like 55%, 60%. So you're leaving out the part where it was increased before it's dropping. And I think as Martin made the point, okay, you spend every dollar you bring in as opposed to being, I think the word was, let's see, reasonable and conservative as possible. The last time we were here talking about budgets, and the year before and the year before, is the fact that you guys come in, you spend on personnel, which is a recurring cost, you increase the number of people we're employing, and you increase the benefits every single year. So when you got $7 million, you spent it. When you got $5 million, you spent it. When you had a $13 million surplus, you still raised taxes and spent it. Okay, so we might have different definitions as far as reasonable and conservative, because you said you can't escape the fixed costs of personnel and benefits. Absolutely, that's true when you're continuously increasing it. Okay, and what are we increasing it on? How many people in this district are non-student contact staff? How many do you have in the district that are non-student contact staff? How many administrators do you have? When we're looking at the number of people, and let's just use something, let's give a real example. Curriculum and instruction, which is our superintendent's expertise, right? You then have an assistant superintendent, you have how many district administrators, you have educational leaders within the building, you have supervisors, all of these people that are interpreting the state curriculum, which exists. We're not creating curriculum from the state, right? There is a state curriculum. There are also 630 districts throughout the state that you can beg, borrow, and steal from instead of recreating the wheel. But how much do we actually spend to recreate the wheel here? Now, that goes to my next point, which is within your curriculum instruction budget, how many dollars are being spent on personnel? How much of that budget isn't actually buying things for instruction and curriculum and instruction, but is actually paying for people? So we're looking at another 6.5% increase, okay, and we're being told this is reasonable. According to your slide, we have 400 students more than Randolph, but our budget is $26 million more. Have any of the board members looked at to why that is? How they can spend $26 million less than what it is that we spend? Maybe they've got somebody doing their budget, okay, that's a little bit more savvy financially. Maybe their board members are asking better questions or asking questions at all. If you were building a needs-based budget, this wouldn't be a problem year in, year out. But you don't. You roll all the costs, you increase the amounts for costs and benefits, you add to it, and then you just send the bill to the taxpayers. So I know you're not going to answer my questions, but I really think that as board members, you should know, okay, what are we spending our money on? Why do we have so many administrators to interpret curriculum that's given to you from the state, okay, to recreate that, and how much of our budget is going towards that, which creates these reoccurring costs, that creates these additional benefits, okay, that we then have to pay for.
Thank you. Seeing none, closing public comment. So we'll start with Mr. Welsmuller. To answer one of your questions, Dr. Banjo, jump in here anytime if I miss something here. If the state were to continue to cut us, yes, those are things we have to look at. Like Ms. Schoening said, they're already looking to plan for the budget for next year. You're budgeting a year and a half in advance, right? Obviously, you know, the state's the state, and they're going to do what they want to do like they always have, right? And so we never know. So we do budget conservatively. This, believe it or not, we do budget conservatively. And so, but you're right, the next thing that gets cut, if we get a state aid, I remember, what was it, when former Governor Chris Christie came in and slashed all state aid, you know, every other district lopped off, but Mount Olive, because we had planned so much with Dr. Reynolds, and we were planning 2-3 years out, that's how budgets should be. We should be planning budgets out. We're not just planning for this budget. We're talking about in the Finance and Operations Committee what the budget looks like as we're developing this year. What's the start looking the framework of that, what's going to look like next year and the year after that. So the answer to that question, you're right. If something like drastic like that would have to happen, we most likely would have to cut. The only thing we can cut, staff and programming. That's where the bulk of the money is in our district. We have very little discretionary spending. So that answers that. Capital. I think capital revenue, what was that question? Mr. Wells-Miller said something about capital reserves?
There was a question about, with the new staff, how much is that costing for salaries and benefits?
Right.
So the estimate for the staff is about $400,000. We're anticipating significant breakage with retirements coming in, so I think that may go a little bit lower. And regarding the benefit cost, it's hard to pin down depending upon what their family, married, whatever, but I would anticipate that could be about another $100,000 on top of that annually.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Shoney, we have to budget as if everyone's going to take family benefits. We have to budget that because
Correct.
everyone in the district could take that, but they're entitled
Correct,
to, right?
correct.
The other gentleman, cost per student in Mount Olive. That is, I finally found that page thanks to Ms. Figueroa. We are at, oh, I just lost it.
23.
What page was it? Thank you.
Page 6.
Page 6, we are at, oh, right there, I'm sorry, 25, almost 25.4, and everyone else is at 23, 22, 23, 22. Can we talk about that? I think Mount Olive, even when I've been on the board for a long time, has always had some of the highest, historically, cost per student. I think that goes to what attributes to cost per student.
Mount Olive provides a lot of programs and services to our students between co-curricular, athletics, drama, the arts, our advanced placement students. I mean, you see when we award them every year, the students just thrive.
And the board also chips in to have those AP students take some of the more tests, right? The student pays for the first one, or we pay for the first one?
We pay for the first one, and they pay for the rest. And the students, some of them take 5 and 6 exams. But the Board of Education supports quite a nice program for their students and they success. But to everything that's being said, yes, this could really come to a crashing halt because we can't really, best practice would be to budget 2 and 3 years out. We can't because we don't know what state aid is going to be. We don't know. We could say we want to increase this program and bring this into the district, but if we don't get the funding for it, we can't have it. Could I answer another question that was asked?
Sure.
So there was the question about extraordinary aid. So we plan on $1 million to balance our budget. We spend over $4 million on that cost center. That's what we submit in applications. When the program first came out, I said the state funded 90% of these applications, and it has dwindled over the years. So we're not sitting on an extra $1 million. We rely on that $1 million to help balance the budget.
Thank you. And then the process made available. The public's not going to see this before the board does. That's why we have the preliminary budget hearing. We had that last month to kind of go over preliminary, like an outline, and submit that to the county. And then it's up to the administration to put this together for the board. So once we get the presentation, it'll be loaded up onto our website.
Just for clarity, once the county approves our budget, it is advertised on our website, the user-friendly budget. That was advertised on April 22nd. Normally, it was in the paper, but the advertised budget, if you go to our website under legal notices, The advertised budget is there in print form, and then subsequently, tomorrow, we'll be posting what's called the user-friendly budget, which will be much easier for you to read than the advertised budget. The user-friendly budget goes into the detail that we've expounded, I don't know why I'm pointing to the agenda, expounded upon in the presentation.
Do you
And
wanna
of
go to-
course, when you look at that, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. My contact information is on the agenda, the slide.
But the first presentation of it was March 23rd.
Yes.
Correct. Yes, public presentation was March 23rd.
Dr. Jandriano, I knew Mrs. Kay, she had some questions.
Yeah, I'm going to get to, I'm trying to go in order for everybody. That's what I was going to do next. Healthcare availability for reserves from capital. By law, you can't do that, Ms. Kay. And I know as a layperson, you can't take that money and you can't use that money for personnel or benefits, stuff like that. So that's when I first got on the board all those years ago, I was like right away, I was like, hey, let's just move that money over. And you learn real quick that there's legal things we can and can't do on that. What, Miss? Yeah. We can ask that question afterwards when we open the, again, I don't want to have to go back and forth here. Support services, would you like to talk about that? Ms. Kay had a question about, she didn't understand what support services were for our district. What that includes.
So support services, these are all services that our students provided, guidance, child study team, the library, occupational services, speech services. These are mandated services that we need to provide for the student.
That is a great idea, Ms. Kay, about leveraging our social media to get out there. A little bit what we're doing is with those long-range facility meetings is having people come in to see our facilities and they're in. But I do agree with you. Try to also get out there on social media. That's a great thing. So something maybe we can talk about over the summer.
And just expand upon, we do have our long-range planning committee that we start at the onset of the school year. We started meetings in December in which we have toured each of the different buildings, in which the principals gave an in-depth overview and gave a tour of each of the buildings. We wanted to make sure, to your point, we had families and residents available to come in and see firsthand. And certainly I do welcome the sentiment about, putting things on social media. And certainly we've been working on is trying to before and after pictures to see how things were before and the work that's being done. And certainly we do, I thank you for that suggestion. Yes. One.
Long-range planning committee is made up of people in town. I just want to make sure that's clear. That's not a board committee. That is made up of taxpayers, people in town.
And then last by Mr. Capone, we all have different, what we think is reasonable and conservative. There's 9 board members up here on this board, right? And although we don't always agree, and that's for sure we don't. But we work with the administration to provide what's best for our students, and everyone's going to have a different opinion on what they feel is conservative and what they feel is reasonable. There's no right or wrong answer for that. I agree with you. It's very ambiguous. It's very large, going back and forth, and the long meetings we tend to have at the facilities meeting, because they're the ones who worked the whole year to put this budget together. But curriculum instruction, to answer his question, how much are we paying for do we have a breakdown for just C&I? Like from the assistant soup and all the supervisors? I know years ago when our budgets were being voted down, the board at the time, just to give you some background for everyone here, refused, as we were being the budgets were being voted down, the council was cutting $500, $600, 1 year, $2 million from our budget. We refused to lay off staff and cut programming, so we started looking at things like teachers I met. So immediately we got rid of an assistant superintendent, we got rid of all of our department chair people at the time. What we found out moving forward, now, especially with COVID, and nothing's been an excuse of COVID, we're a long way out, but we needed to have some scaffolding and support. We do. I think, Dr. Banjo, the district our size, what we haven't had that in a long time. I think it's something this board recognizes we need. There's a lot of moving parts in our district. If our district was 2,000 students less, I agree. We wouldn't have as many administrators here. I agree. Unfortunately, we're the 3rd largest in the county. Right, wrong, or indifferent. And I think we do a pretty good job. I will tell you, Dr. Banja is not, agree with her, don't agree with her, that's fine. She does not put personnel in the budget or want to hire personnel lightly. It is arduous, and sometimes I myself had banged my head into the wall saying, this is what we need, trust me, this is what, and so it takes time for her to get there with her research, and she wants to get information. So I don't think anyone on this board or the administration does anything fly by the seat of their pants. I think there's a lot of research and a lot of effort done, but do we have that question right now? Can we get back to Mr. Capone or what that number would be?
Curriculum is budgeted with our instruction budget, which is about $31 million. So for curriculum, I can get back to you what the specific is.
Email Mr. Capone that answer. That'd be great. That would be great. Yeah, and just in C&T. And that's all I got. And please, everyone, if you have other questions, when I open it up to action items, you'll be able to ask other questions as well. And I just want to let the crowd here know, and people at home, none of us are sitting up here, this doesn't sit well with a lot of us, right? We get that. We're homeowners. We pay our property taxes. Some, less than others, more than others. I get that. None of us are sitting here wringing our hands, twisting our villainous mustaches, giggling that we're raising taxes. No one does that, right? It's the system we have to work with. Now, you may not agree with the decisions. You may not agree with this budget presentation. You may not agree where we're putting the money. But that's what you elect us to do. You elect us to spend night after night after night, months after months after month, putting hours in there, going through these financials, going through these committee meetings for 2-3 hours a month. And it may not seem a lot, and that's what we got elected to do. That's what we signed up for, right? But it is a lot. We're just not flying by the seat of our pants. And unfortunately, in our state, until they come up with a better way to fund education, right, this is what we have to do. The state wants the bases of the towns they deem to be wealthy towns, they want those bases taxed, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's what a lot of it's fault with S2. It's also at fault, an idea I had. I'm going to start reaching out to a lot of the school districts, the board presidents and superintendents in the surrounding districts that are affected by the Highlands Act, because there is more political power, the more people we have going and talking to our elected officials down at the state. I know Senator Bucco had put something in to try to alleviate or help districts that are caught in the Highlands Act, because that's not fair and equitable either. If you're not allowed to build, then you can't spread out your taxes through a base, and your enrollment goes down, and then you're punished with declining enrollment. So none of us, I agree, it's the most archaic way to fund education, right? And I said this before. My parents in the 70s, when the casinos were coming in, I lived in South Jersey, that was supposed to take all the problems away from property taxes. That didn't happen. The parkway, the turnpike, everything that this state generates revenue in does not go for the purpose of what it was meant to do, and that's to lower our property tax. The only time our property taxes were lowered by the state was when they had an agreement with NJEA that they stopped contributing to the pension and they started borrowing out of it. That's the only time. Think about that. That was in Governor Christie Todd Whitman's administration. That's when that happened. So, it's not, the state doesn't have a revenue problem. It generates billions of dollars. They just have to somehow get it right. And I think it depends on all of us to go down there and say, this is what we need done. I think that's starting to happen, because I think Mr. Wellsmuller is correct. You're seeing Jefferson, you're seeing West Milford. They have to close schools when enrollment's going down because they can't build. They have to look at, doing other things. 1 year, Mount Olive, our budget went down and we cut courtesy busing, and that was a big to-do. But that's what we did, because we were not going to lay off teachers anymore, and we let the public know. So those are decisions that, yes, we may have to do that down the road. We may have to say, we're only busing the kids that we have to bus in by law. That might be something, as opposed to laying off teachers. And no one's going to be happy with that, because we don't have the best roads and sidewalks in our town, right? I would argue we bus 95% of our students, unless you're living in a neighborhood like Clover Hill and have sidewalks and sidewalks go to the school. So, there's never a good answer, right? Someone is going to get hurt. It pits people who have students in the school who want good things and good opportunities for the students against people who don't. The whole system is rigged up against itself, and unfortunately, this is what we have to do. And so we didn't, if we didn't put that health insurance increase in, or that cost increment we could do, who knows, we'd be looking to cut in a lot of things, not be able to have the things we have for our students. And we may have to do that down the road. You're right, if the state doesn't fix this funding formula, because you can't keep doing this. We can't keep doing this. So it's on everyone's mind. It's not easy. People, I know I don't sleep well with it. I know every board member here doesn't sleep well with it. So, but again, it's the system we have to work with, right? If we could change the system, I'd be more. If you said, Anthony Giordano, you could change the system, I'd change it right now. I think the state should have to put in, you know, the 75% of the tax, and the town raises the other 25. That would all lower our property taxes, right? That would be great. The state's not going to do that unless we force them to do that. So, you know, so hopefully at some point, you know, the state wakes up and does that. So that's why I think, you know, education should be funded, right? It should be reverse, right? State funds the majority of it, and then we levy the rest of what we want. But until the state changes, that's what we're stuck with. So thank you for all your questions and listening to that presentation.
Mr. President, Mr. President.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It's regarding the pupil cost. And for the people that are at home, it is important, for example, we have the Manoli and Randolph, we have a difference of 457 students. However, the big components to serve to those students, it's a student needs. Not all those 457 students has the same needs or are regular. And that could be a huge difference in the pupil cost, all those services in addition. In addition to that, the other component is the programs that are offered in Manolive. We have a lot of programs for all kinds of interests that our students could have. And for example, we partner with Roxbury because we have the ROTC here. So we have programs that other school districts, they don't have, and we offer here for our kids, and our kids could enjoy those opportunities, like the Air Flight Academy, and the NJ Boys State and the NJ Girls State, because we have personnel, which is the next component, the personnel that is well-trained and that could offer the best education to our students. Another components are the facilities, because in order for us to serve those 457 students, we need facilities, and facilities where the learning is inviting to learning and to exchange their learning experience with their teachers and have enough equipment on those classrooms to teach those students. So it's not only a simple number of 457, it's what that entails. And I just mentioned 4 components, but in addition of that, there is more. But for me, the most important are those. So we cannot see simple numbers, not in students and not in budget, because those students that are going through our school system, we have to make sure, and as a board member, we are very responsible to making sure asking questions to ensure that those kids, when they graduated, they were prepared for life and for whatever future they decide to go. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, move on to a Personnel Committee report. Personnel Committee met tonight at 5:45. It was Mr. Moore, Dr. Bangia, Ms. Aquino, Mr. Petrie, and myself. Does anyone have any questions? A lot of it is going to be discussed in closed session of what we discussed in personnel. Does anyone have any questions on the action items? All the action items were approved, voted out of committee for the full board's consideration unanimously. Anyone? All right. Anyone have subcommittee or teacher-parent association reports? Ms. Figuera, and then Mr. Petrie.
Mr. Petrie, you can go first. I need to pull up my notes.
Right, so Moms was supposed to be this week, but it was canceled, but they did send out a note of it's being Teacher Appreciation Week. The PTO is collecting gift cards and theme baskets to be raffled off during Teacher Appreciation Week. If you're able to donate, please sign up. And then 8th grade parents, celebrate your student with a lawn sign and t-shirt. Sale ends April 26th. Oops, we missed that. That's all they sent.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments from the board? Ms. Figuera.
Okay, on behalf of the FPTA, I'd like to share some news for them. Teacher Appreciation Week is being celebrated May 4th through May 8th. They are still accepting monetary donations as well as breakfast juices, etc., For their breakfast on Monday, they're still looking for volunteers as well. Their spring buy one, get one book fair is scheduled for May 11th through the 15th. They're also looking for volunteers for this, and there's a sign up genius on Class Dojo. They're planning a mental health walkathon at Mountain View on May 27th. The students are looking forward to this annual event. They have a family fun day scheduled for May 30th. This is a free event. It is on a Saturday. However, without volunteers, this event cannot happen. They specifically need adults to supervise the inflatables as well as the dunk tank, and there is also a sign-up genius that has been posted for this as well.
Questions or comments from the board? Thank you, Ms. Figueroa. Sandshore Sandshore Homeschool Partnership meeting was April. I was not able to attend, so Ms. Curry sent me notes. I do apologize. Old business, the boys' dance had 76 tickets sold. Girls' dance had 150 tickets sold. New business, fifth grade committee update. 71 direct asks purchased. They raised $3,700. $60 in donations. The dance is May 9th. T-shirts and movement up day shared decorations. Bus driver appreciation day is April 28th. It's being planned there. Plant sales May 5th through the 8th. Teacher mini grants, there's 16 requests. They need to fill multiple positions on their board. They discussed the end of year party, and staff appreciation is May 18th to the 22nd. Ms. Curry spoke about TREPS, what a huge success was, and I know we had several board members attend that. And the testing dates for NJSLA is May 6th through, science is May 6th and 7th, and then 13th, 12th, and 11th of May for the different grades. Field days are then May 19th and then May 28th, and then art show May 20th. Any questions or comments? There's so much more. I just kind of raised the top there. All right. And I don't think we need a board president report because I already went through that. Okay, public comments on action items. And there's a new little verbiage I'm going to say in here. Thought it was a little bit easier to read off of this than just me saying. It's basically what I've been saying. We just added a little bit more to it. The Board of Education welcomes and encourages input from the public, being mindful of privacy rights regarding students and board employees, and to avoid any potential liability on the part of the speaker. The board discourages references to specific individuals. While directing your comments or questions to the board president, please understand that public comment portions of the meeting are not structured as questions and answer sessions, but are rather offered as opportunities for you to share your thoughts with the board. The board president may need to refer an issue to the superintendent if the particular issue has not been handled through the appropriate chain of command with the school district. However, responses may be provided at the end of the session. There are times when comments and questions will require additional fact gathering before a response is provided. Right now, stand up in front of the mic, ask any question on any action item, from 6.1 all the way to
10.1.
10.1. Thank you, Mr. Petrie.
Martin Wellsmuller, 25 Woodcrest, Buck Lake. Couldn't see him. Board docs was down, so I'm pretty sure I'm probably the only one that reads them besides the staff. But all day I couldn't read it. It was very disheartening. But I do have one question. I don't know if it would be addressed in the bills or not. With the latest lawsuit that hit the district, are you guys putting away special funds to cover the legal costs for that, or is that just going right to the insurance company? And is board docs going to get fixed? That's it.
Thank you. This is just for the agenda right now. The next open, after the board votes on the agenda, on the action items, I will open back up to public comment, ma'am. That will be when you can come back up to finish what you're saying. Closing the public comment on action items.
Dr. Giordano, can I actually go back to the last public comment? I would be remiss to not, because I did not completely answer Ms. Peel's.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes, absolutely.
Clarification as far as the team model is concerned. Every grade is divided into different sections, different teams. And within that team, those students share the same core teachers. Those core teachers do not follow the children. It's just that for that particular year, on average, about 80, 90 kids have the same social studies, English, science, social studies teacher. However, when they move up to the next grade, they have a different team with different teachers. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, Dr. Banjo. I forgot about that too. I apologize. All right, so we have a consent agenda approval, Ms. Aquino?
Do we want to answer these questions?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Wellsman, I apologize. I got thrown off there. The lawsuit has already been forwarded to our insurance carrier.
And board docs.
And
It's
board
a-
docs, hopefully they'll be up.
It's a nationwide outage
Right.
at this point, so it's not only us. We're just very fortunate that we do have hard copies of everything on the back end. I wouldn't be surprised if that's not the case in other districts. So certainly, we're waiting with bated breath.
Thank you, Dr. B. So that answers that. Now, Ms. Aquino, consent agenda motion?
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, I'd like to move action items 6.1 through 10.2.
Second.
Questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, roll call, Ms. Schoening?
Mrs. Aquino?
Yes.
Ms. Brett?
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. Melendez?
Abstaining 8.1, any action related to Angela or Angie Sanchez, and yes to everything else.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Abstain from 7.14 and anything that has to do with Christian Humphrey, and yes to everything else.
Mr. Orzillo?
Yes.
Mrs. Figuera?
Yes.
Dr. Giordano?
Abstain on anything that had to do with subs or sub-pay rate, and yes to everything else.
Excuse me,
Yeah, I
Dr.
was-
Giordano, also anything pertaining to the township?
Mr. Petrie? I'm
Yes.
sorry, I should have called you second. I apologize.
I'm easy like Sunday morning.
All right, now, we're opening it back up. I hate paper agendas. Again, public comment. The Board of Education welcomes and encourages input from the public, being mindful of the privacy rights regarding students and board members, or not board members and board employees, and to avoid any potential liability on the part of the speaker. The board discourages references to specific individuals. While directing your comments or questions to the board president, please understand that public comment portions of the meeting are not structured as question and answer sessions, but rather are offered as opportunities for you to share your thoughts with the board. The board president may need to refer an issue to the superintendent if the particular issue has not been handled through the appropriate chain of command with the school district. However, responses may be provided at the end of the session. There are times when comments and questions will require additional fact gathering before a response is provided. You can open on any public comment of anything going on in the district. Welcome back.
Thank you. Precious Pill 37, Whippoorwill Road, Butt Lake, New Jersey. So, nigger, is that a word that I can say, or should I be spelling it?
Well, you have a freedom to say whatever you like. I mean, some people may find that offensive.
That's exactly what the people who did the investigations, when my child was called the word nigger 3 times, that's the stance that they were taking, that it's just name calling, and if people deny that they said it, even though other people heard them say it, then the hibs are just brushed under the rug. And so the first time when my child was called the nigger word, this school year, it was brushed under the rug. The child pushed my child first, and when my child responded back, and then a HIB investigation was opened up, the people who did the investigation, they did very, very good with making sure that this child seemed very innocent, didn't seem aggressive. During the HIB report investigation, they didn't mention the fact that the child was threw his laptop so hard on the table that it jumped. It made me jump when I was watching the video. Didn't mention that the child called my son a B.A. nigger, and it was just heartbreaking that I thought that this district was no place for hate, when in actuality, it's no place for hate, but then there's like an asterisk next to that phrase, right? It's just a catchphrase that sounds cool or it sounds cute, and so that's why the sign is outside of this door in the atrium that says that no place for hate, because in actuality, it's okay to hate because it's free speech. And maybe some people may find it offensive, but you can call people nigger anytime that you want, and if you say, I don't remember saying that, or if some students say, I did hear that child call this other child the N-word, and then other students say, oh, I didn't hear, then the child who said it, he gets away with it. And the second time that it happened, a month later from that first incident, again, the people who were investigating it, they made sure that the other child seemed very innocent, and like, they even, oh goodness, they even asked questions like, did my child use the nigger word too? Does he use that type of language? And our family, we don't use that type of language in any type of derivation. And it's just interesting how the people who were doing those investigations, they tried to turn the person who was the target or the victim per se, into the person who was the aggressor, or the person who was the bad person in that instance, asking those type of questions. And for the second instance as well, for the first instance, the investigation didn't happen until almost a month later, and then for the second instance, it didn't happen until about 3 weeks later. And my point of even mentioning these is that grown people, let alone children, their memories start to fade little by little. And it's very heartbreaking that even when students said that they heard that student say it, they still didn't get in trouble for it because of, well, I'll say why after in a second. So the third time that it happened.
Can I, real quick though,
Yes?
were these all opened up HIB investigations?
Yeah.
Okay, so you do know if.
But it was for play though, right?
But you do know.
Like the Hibs were for play.
Right, but you do know you have the right to appeal an HIB to the full board. So then we get all that information in a private session, a closed session. You could come to the board and we'd have all the information in front of us, and the board then could say, if the board felt that it was not founded the correct way, the board then can hear your concern and overturn what the administration, what the superintendent recommended. Just so are you aware of that?
So, sort of, because last school year, or was it fourth grade?
Because I'll just be honest with you.
I tried to do that thing that you said, the appeal last time, when I tried to appeal it, when my son was targeted by a few teachers here in the board, in the district. And it was so funny because they said that there was no issues, it was just handled like a different.
But did you file a formal HIB against teachers?
I did.
Did you put that formal? That's so. This is just new information to us. I'd have to refer this back to Dr. Bangia, and I will ask her to look into this and see what happened and what the outcomes of those were.
I mean, Anthony, that's like old news, okay? I don't even want to focus on that. I want to focus on the word nigger right now. So let's not focus on that right now. I want to focus on hate right now, not on that. I don't want the attention to be put on that.
I would love nothing more than to hear what you have to say on hate, because I agree, I don't like hate, but I do have to keep the meeting moving, so I need you to wrap this up at some point.
I'll try my best.
Okay.
And so the third time when my child was called a nigger, that child he was an honest child. He did admit that he did say it, and he got a 15-minute talk to or detention or something like that as punishment. And not only did he call my son a nigger, he also called him a big black monkey too. And not that it matters, the big black monkey part, I'm not trying to excuse that, I'm just saying that my child is so skinny and where did he learn that type of language from? That's the point. Where did all these children learn that type of language from? Are their families using that type of language behind closed doors and then empowering their children to come to our schools and use that type of language toward other students? Why is it that this is a place for hate because people have the right for free speech? Why is it that HIB investigations don't really do anything? Even if it's proved, there's still some type of workarounds where it doesn't even come to fruition, where it's unfounded consistently, unless the child admits to it. It's heartbreaking. And I think that possibly the first two HIBs were definitely unfounded. I'm just assuming this because the first two children were Caucasian. The third child, oh, you didn't like that.
No, it's not
and
that I don't like it. It's not that I
the
like it,
third
ma'am.
child
At some
was
point, ma'am, I
brown.
need
He
to-
was brown.
What would
And
you
so
like
I'm
us to do?
I would like for HIB investigations to really be real investigations, not where they're trying to turn the people who are opening,
So my advice
not
to you,
where they're trying to turn the people who opened the
so my
HIB
advice to
into.
you, my advice to you is,
How do you
if
ask me a question
there's
and
an
still cut me
if
off?
there's an HIB investigation, you need to appeal to us. You're saying stuff to us. I assume, because we put a lot of money and training into our staff to train them on HIBs, that they're doing an HIB investigation. It's not until a parent appeals a decision to the full board that we get all that paperwork in front of us, to review it, to look at it. Right? That's how, so you're saying things to me, I hear what you're saying, and I'm being mindful of it, but I don't have any of that information of what you're saying, that you felt the HIB investigation didn't
You
go
never,
well, or
you
any
never heard
that
of
stuff.
any of these incidents.
So, we get them on the agenda like we do, but those students' names, they're numbers. So if you want us to hear an appeal, an HIB go through it here, and come to us and produce more evidence and let us really look at it, then we have Dr. Bangia come in with the HIB coordinator and the building admin to really go through all those materials. That's when the board gets involved. Right, and the investigations by law have to be within a certain amount of time. So if you're telling me, and I know Dr. Bangia has worked, I've been on top of her about that, because 3 years ago, our HIB report card, particularly at the middle school, was god-awful. And so I know she has put a lot of time and effort into fixing those processes and procedures and training for our staff. So we need, and I appreciate you coming here to tell us these things, but until you appeal an HIB that we can see the paperwork, we don't get to see all that internal paperwork. We don't get to see the investigation notes.
I have to present more evidence.
No. What will happen is, if you appeal an HIB, Dr. Bangia will be required to, through the HIB coordinator and the specialists, will come to a closed session. You'll be able to appeal it, and then all the information, their notes they took, things that they are going to talk to. We're going to ask them a bazillion questions. You're going to be right there.
And what is the time frame for that?
She has to do it within 60
Yeah, within 60 days after you get notice of the outcome of the HIB.
Okay, so we have surpassed that.
Yeah.
We have surpassed it.
So I'm saying to you, moving forward, if another HIB is filed, that you filed one, or your son files one against another student, and it doesn't you think it was done improperly, or the conclusion wasn't to your satisfaction, you can appeal that within 60 days to the board.
Well, we talk about these things from time to time, and we're hoping that it doesn't happen again.
Right, I agree with
So
you.
my son
That'd be the
said
best.
that since then, since that third instance, he hasn't been called a nigger since. He
Okay.
hasn't been called a monkey since.
That's good.
Or things like that. That's really, really good. And so we're just hoping to get through this school year and for it not to happen.
Right. I hope so, it does too, but again, if that does happen, let the building administration know and file those HIBs, and the district will investigate by law. We have to.
Another concern is why do we still celebrate Christopher Columbus Day in this district? We celebrate Christopher Columbus Day. We celebrate St. Patrick's Day. We celebrate Memorial Day, which makes sense to me. We celebrate 9/11, which, by the way, in regards to 9/11, when my children first learned about that, they both said that they were afraid.
I have to tell you, you have like 1 minute left.
They both said that they were very afraid. Because I'm thinking they were afraid because it wasn't taught in a way that was very child-friendly. And so if our children are mature enough from grades K up through high school, if they're mature enough to learn about that, why don't we also observe Juneteenth? And those are all my concerns.
Thank you.
Tim Capone, Highfield Road. So, listening to those comments just kind of reiterated, that I feel like I've heard and made similar comments that you just heard. Not completing HIBs on time, not thoroughly investigating HIBs. And so again, that means that I don't have an email from one of your administrators telling me that you would not investigate a HIB, right? I don't have that, because that's not something you would do, is it? Okay? And as far as public comment, okay, I don't see any notice here that says you limit time. Okay? Cutting people off because you don't want to hear what they have to say is not representative of what the community and public comment is. Okay? You're supposed to be listening to what it is that they're saying, okay? Taking that back and maybe doing something with it. Instead of the same comments coming up time and again, falling on deaf ears. Seeing nothing change. And I'm going to go back to the comments that I made about the budget. It's the same thing year in and year out. You spend every dollar, you don't plan for the future, you don't look to see, okay, what's coming down the pike. You spend every penny, you hire things that are going to be recurring costs, and you pass it on to the taxpayers. And then you come back and make comments about how, oh, we're going to have to cut teachers. You don't have to cut teachers. Cut the bureaucrats. Cut the extra administrators that you don't need. Okay, cut those people instead of threatening to cut teachers and programs for kids. Okay, very, very cute at the beginning. What does the top say? Children are our first priority. Okay, I'm going to save that for another board meeting, okay, with some very specific details.
Thank you.
I can't top that, but Martin Wellsmo, 25 Woodcrest Avenue, Bud Lake, New Jersey. My question before was how many new employees we're hiring, not just the dollar amount. If you know the actual head count, that's what I was looking for, and then I can back into some of the other data. And just so you know, after last Board of Ed meeting, I had a lovely conversation with her about some of the stuff that's happened to her son, and it broke my heart, okay? And I know how the HIB process works for the state of New Jersey. It's flawed. It's horrible. I don't think it works. And I know you guys are landlocked to follow those laws. I think that, we can do better, but we have to fix Trenton and what they did down there because they don't give any teeth to HIBs. And it's not fair to the parents. It's not fair to the students. And I think that's what's, not everyone knows that, all right? And the problem is the definition, when you go by the definition of certain things, if something misses it by a millimeter, it doesn't count. And I wish sometimes personal judgment can come into play based on good moral character, and you guys disseminate with that as well. I think that would change a lot. That's it.
Thank you.
Hi, Trista K, 28 Jocinda Road, Flanders. Just listening to some of this, I just have a question now as a parent. when a HIB is closed and the judgment is made, is there included in the email a notice to the parents that if they want to appeal it, are there the next steps? Is that included?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So people should be aware through the email.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Closing the public comment. Old business from the board? New business? All right. Board comments, Mr. Petrie.
Good luck to all of the kids taking the AP exams. Good luck to Mort at the World Championships. And I happened to see the first softball game of my life. It was the Morris County Championship. So when I got there, it was the second inning, and it was already 11-1. I think they won 25-1. I think we might be able to do a better job letting the town know how well we do, because I find it difficult to see how all of the sports are doing. We should really have like a ticker tape on the website of sports scores for our teams to let everyone know how awesome we're doing. That's about it.
Ms. Brett.
Nothing for me.
Ms. Melendez.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate to the Manoliv High School Wind Ensemble Honors. They were yesterday performing at William Patterson University at the New Jersey State Band Gala 2026. For 10 years in a row, there has been selected, and it's a very reduced number of bands. They only selected 12 bands in the entire state of New Jersey. So we are very honored to have them, and congratulate Mr. Daryl Hendricks, and also a very young conductor, Anthony Lucariello, and he did fantastic also. So congratulations to the high school wind ensemble.
Ms. O'Neill.
Congratulations to all the ROTC students and to the music students that won the noms, and happy spring.
Ms. Fischel.
No comment?
Mr. Orzillo.
No comment.
Ms. Quino.
Nothing.
Ms. Figuera.
Very quickly, I just wanted to congratulate and thank Mrs. Rutan for her 23 years of
Yep.
service, and I wish her all the best in the next chapter of her life in retirement.
Super, you took the words out of my mouth, Ms. Figuera. Ms. Rutan is phenomenal what she does, and will continue to be phenomenal what she does. Motion to recess in confidential session. Resolved that the board be in confidential session for the purpose of discussing negotiations, personnel, matters of attorney-client privilege, pending or anticipated litigation. Be it further resolved that matters discussed in confidential session be disclosed to the public when the reason for confidentiality no longer exists. Action may be taken. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. We're in closed session. Thanks for everyone coming out. Thank you, guys. We're back from closed session. Put a motion that is 10.2.
You want a roll call before?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you, Ms. Queen. Roll call, Ms. Shoney?
Mrs. Aquino?
Here.
Ms. Brett?
Here.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Here.
Mrs. Melendez?
Here.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Here.
Mr. Orzillo?
Here.
Mr. Petrie?
Here.
Mrs. Figuera?
Here.
Dr. Giordano?
Here. Action item 10.2, resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approves the appointment of Christina Steffner to conduct an independent investigation pursuant to the terms of Ms. Steffner's proposal in the amount not to exceed $6,100. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Ms. Shoney?
Mrs. Aquino?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Ms. Brett?
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. Melendez?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Orzillo?
Yes.
Mrs. Figuera?
Yes.
Dr. Giordano?
Yes. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye.